Looks like we're into the game.
We're into the game, and this is Game 1, guys, in case you just tuned in. Welcome very much to this channel, Vubli's official Twitch channel. I'm MbL, and I'm joined by my very good partner in crime, Zero Empires. We're going to be casting these awesome games. It's going to be Mentalist against MbL. I'm right now on the point of view of MbL. He's playing on the right side of the map with a blue color. Mentalist pretty much on the opposite side of the map, at the very left side with a red color. And Zach, talk about the maps.
Okay, my bad. I was just on team colors off. I see you have team colors on. So let me just confirm, that's Mentalist in the red or the blue?
I've got Mentalist with red. I'm sorry about that. I should have told you. I always use team colors.
No problem. I have team colors now. My bad. So yeah, Mentalist in the red over on the left, and MbL on the right side. Of course, it's a Hun War for game number 1, and yeah, we're going to take a look at the map right now. So, do you want to start with Mentalist or MbL for this one?
Well, I guess I'm right now on the point of view of Mentalist, and the first thing that comes to mind and comes to my eyes is the very far away goal that he's got right there on the left side, right? I guess he chose to go for that wood patch, which is going to mean he's going to have biggest part of his economy on the left side. So I'm going to assume he's going to have a couple of buildings there, and probably in front of the gold. Considering he's got a very nice cliff right there, Zach, I guess walling the left side of the map is going to be quite easy, in fact.
Yeah, maybe not too difficult. I mean, obviously, you know, he may want to build those buildings going between that wood line in front of his TC and going down to the sort of southwest area, so that gold is nice and safe. And he's got his secondary gold there as well, so I think that's a pretty important part of the map for him. But looking at the wood lines here, obviously this wood line where he's put his initial lumber camp, it's not that nice. There's not a huge amount of wood there, and, you know, he will have to move that later on. Obviously, most players are going to be building that second lumber camp anyway, but it's never ideal to, like I said earlier, have those little oases. They can really make things awkward a lot of the time.
Yeah, boy, they can screw you over. Let's try to take a look at what MbL is doing and take a look at his map. I can't even see the wood. Oh my god, it's very far away.
Whoa,
the wood line is very far away, but good thing is it's at the back. It's at the very back of the base. I guess that's a good thing. But taking a look at the gold, looks like a horrible gold to me. It's pretty much down the hill. That means it can be so easily raidable. After a fast look, Zach, seems like a much worse map for MbL so far.
Definitely. I think a big thing as well is looking at the berry locations is something that some people don't tend to do. But if you look at where the berries are for MbL, they're very far forwards, and Mentalist has those berries nice and close to his TC at the back. And the reason I think that's important is because if a player does go for a Dark Age rush, they generally target the berries first because they can disrupt that early food economy, and more often than not, the berry villages are actually more exposed. But looking at MbL's woodline back here, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if Mentalist will actually scout that. He's going to realize that something's a little bit strange when he doesn't see a lumber camp. But that lumber camp from MbL is so far back, maybe a little bit of a risk, given that it's so far away. But if Mentalist doesn't find it, then that could be a safe haven for chopping wood back there. But like you say, the map is pretty bad for gold anyway. Both his second and third gold are way out on the front and on that far left side, but next to the cliff, and his main gold underneath the hill as well. So maybe MbL here wants to be nice and aggressive. We'll have to wait and see.
I do have to wonder, why didn't he just take the other wood line at the top of his TC? Maybe he didn't scout it on time, I don't know. Seems a little bit weird to me that he didn't take it. It's not like there's not a lot of trees right there. There's a whole lot of trees, in fact, right? So I'm a little bit puzzled by this option from MbL. Anyway, something that's worth pointing out, MbL is indeed going to go for a Dark Age rush. That's a drush. He was able to steal 2 sheep, as far as I can see here, from Mentalist. A good job by him. And switching back to Mentalist, looks like it's going to be scouts, Zach.
Yeah, for MbL, actually, this is quite nice. Stealing those sheep is really huge for him, although it looks like Mentalist might just steal them right back.
Yeah, just gotta get them back. Gotta get them back.
That's gonna be a little bit of a cat and mouse.
No, but MbL, no, I wanna have him. I wanna have him. He's gonna get him. And it's gonna be a drush against a scout. And how do you feel about this? Which one would you prefer to have?
In this situation, I feel like MbL is probably better off doing this drush anyway, simply because he can get aggressive onto Mentalist, maybe force Mentalist to play a more defensive game, which is kind of what MbL should want to do given his map situation at the moment. If he does decide to try and make some walling here, it's going to take him quite some time, and he might want the peace of mind here of keeping Mentalist back at home. But Mentalist moving out with 3
what
bills.
are we seeing here? Why are we seeing here? It's going to be the clash between the militia militia and the villagers. I'm gonna assume that MbL was able to spot this for sure. And no, was it? I don't think he saw it. I don't think he saw it. Oh my god, this is gonna be so interesting.
Yeah, I think that's pretty huge. MbL, like, what's he doing there? Why didn't he attack those villagers? They walked straight by each other. That would have been huge for MbL if he caught those villagers out. Given the fact that they got attacked by a wolf as well, MbL could have even killed a villager there, but no, he completely misses it. He's absolutely blind to it. And Mentalist now, obviously knowing that a drush is coming in, taking that precaution back at home, and obviously, you know, the biggest counter to a drush is simply a palisade wall. It's so easy, and keeps those pesky militia out. Nice walling from Mentalist, actually.
Very effective walling, I agree with you. There's absolutely nothing that MbL can do at this point, so that his drush is going to be rather useless, especially because he did not spot the villagers, and that would have been so important for him. I'm going to go into his point of view to try to understand. No, there's no chance. He cannot see this. He cannot see this. So I guess no scouts. After all, it was a forward that Mentalist has got planned here, and I like this idea considering the bad goal that MbL has got.
Me too, as well. I just want to say that, you know, there's a prime example of how patrol can save your ass when you actually patrol your military. Those militia would have targeted the villagers instead of walking straight by. But Mentalist coming forward with a tower right now. And this has been
you
pretty,
wonderful man.
consistent in Mentalist's gameplay. He's been throwing up a lot of forward towers, getting super aggressive as soon as he hits the feudal age, and he's not actually going to be going for scouts after all, throwing up that archery range and adding in a good combination of skirms and spears to support that tower push, and he's going to get that tower up right on the berries, and I don't think MbL really has too much of an idea about that, as he doesn't react at all in time.
Yeah, he just, he was missing it for one tile. So unfortunate for him. Anyway, I think this is the best counter against a Drush FC, right? Drush fast counts is the best thing that he can do. And was just able to wall the wood line, something you don't see every day. But that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt really bad.
Yeah, man, that's really going to hurt, blocking off that left side, and MbL now throwing up a tower next to his town center, but seriously, he's got some balls to be doing a Drush fast castle when his Drush is so ineffective. To go straight into a fast castle like this, oh man, well, no, sorry, he's not going to fast castle.
No, there's absolutely no chance he's got doing it, yeah.
I was going to say, I think that was his intention, but I don't, no, that's not going to happen. I mean, it's just ridiculous to even go down that route here. Man-at-Arms coming in for MbL though, which is interesting.
And it's probably the perfect counter, to be fair, right? It's only skirmishers and spears, so man-at-arms is pretty much the perfect counter. What I would have wished to see is 2 archery ranges instead of just 1 archery range, and blacksmith, I guess he's gonna have trouble to get the kind of numbers that he needs in order to fight off this forward for Mentalist. Mentalist seems to me like he does know by now where the wood line of MbL is, and he's gonna put some pressure on that wood line, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is nice. He's actually killed a couple of villagers. Oh, sorry, MbL, has killed a couple of villagers from Mentalist in that woodline. He broke in at the back, and those villagers fighting, you know, coming to arms there, but yeah, he's lost like 3 or 4 villas back here already, meaning that MbL right now is 4 villages ahead.
Well, and thank you so much for pointing it out. I seem to have missed that. Thank you so much for that. That's a huge damage. It's a huge kind of damage. And as you point out, 3 villagers, 4 villagers deficit right now for Mentalist. And considering he's the one going forward, which pretty much puts you a little bit further behind in terms of economy. Nice job by MbL. And he seemed to have a very rough start with that Drush not being able to do anything. He managed to do something with it. Nice position for MbL in this moment.
Yeah, well, yes and no, I guess. I mean, he's not really lost too many vills back here to Mentalist's army because, well, skirmishers and spearmen hardly the villager slayers of AoE 2, but he's really struggling to gather wood right now. That wood line on the left, completely, you know, devoid of villagers. On the back, he's only just returning to gather the wood at this point, and, you know, wood, arguably the most important resource in Age of Empires 2, and MbL really struggling to get a good source of wood income now, and that wood line's going to be pretty inefficient. You see all the villagers bumping each other, meaning that he's not got very efficient wood gathering at all.
Okay, let's see how will this tower placement play out for Mentalist here. I guess it's going to block further the berries. I would have wished to see it a little bit closer to the gold. I'm not sure if that's a possibility at this moment. We've got a tower race here. We've got MbL, who's going to put his tower first. That's for sure. He's got more villagers there. He's got a couple of archers as well. So he might actually win this fight if he uses his villagers to try to fight off the skirmishers for Mentalist. That's what he's doing. I think this fight is going to go for MbL.
Yeah, if MbL can get these villagers from Mentalist on the front, that's going to be pretty huge. Add that to the villagers he killed in the back of Mentalist's woodline, and suddenly Mentalist is, really far behind in economy overall. But yeah, MbL gets that tower up, he's nice and safe on that gold for now, and that's going to be really important for him as this game goes on. But then again, you have to think, okay, well, does he really need that much gold right now? He's got 350 gold in the bank, and clearly Mentalist going for full skirmishes, so making archers at this point might not be the most, the best idea, really, given that Mentalist has so many skirms out at this stage.
I like this very much for Mentalist. He's putting down a stable right now, and that could be a little bit of an unexpected move by him. I'm not sure if MbL is gonna realize that Mentalist is gonna try to switch into Scout, and when you consider both players are doing skirmishers, going for Scout seems like the obvious option. And let's see how well this fight here play out for Mentalist. He's got a lot more army at this point, Zero, so I do like Mentalist's positions right now.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. MbL doesn't have a great map, and Mentalist playing really aggressive, keeping MbL, forced to defend. He's had quite a lot of idle time this game as well, although overall both players are pretty even on total idle time. But I can't help but notice those villagers from MbL standing around a lot of this game. But MbL also adding in a stable right now, and it looks like since both players are adding a stable, we're going to see quite a long feudal war. And personally, that is one of my favorite things about this game. A long, drawn-out feudal war. Very exciting stuff.
That's what we mentioned at the beginning, right? Hunts can be so versatile, and considering that we're gonna stay a little while in Feudal Age, we're gonna see a very long Feudal Age, that's for sure. None of the players is gonna be trying to go for a fast cancel at this point. And we see two scouts. I guess with the scouts and the skirmishers, this army from MbL could be completely lost. He doesn't have a spear right there. Spear got a very nice attack bonus against the scouts. Man-at-Arms is gonna be an easy prey, especially considering we've got skirmishes right there as well.
Yeah, I mean, MbL, he tried the counter-attack. I don't know if that was necessarily the right decision, but, well, obviously it didn't work out for him at all.
It showed it wasn't.
Halfway across the map. But he's feeling fairly, I mean, that shows to me that he's feeling fairly confident at home defending with these towers. The towers that he's got on this front wood line, on his farms, and at the back wood line as well. I think MbL may be regaining a little bit of safety around his base. And as he switches into scouts now, he's hoping that he can take down this skirmisher army pretty quickly, as skirmishers really suck versus these scout cavalry. But Mentalist brings in a spearman on this right side with, like, what, 2 HP. It's going to do a lot of work, I'm sure.
It's probably not going to do too much, unfortunately, for him. But looks to me like the scouts are going to do the job. They're going to get a couple of the skirmishers, and at the same time, Mentalist moves with the rest of his army, and they're going to just reunite at that placement. And that means that Mentalist is going to push the gold of MbL. That's the right thing to do, in my opinion. MbL sort of hurting for gold. He does not need too much gold at this point, that's true. But at some point, he's going to be trying to switch to archers. I can see a couple of archers already, in fact. But it's going to be very hard from him, considering how many scouts and how many skirmishers Mentalist has got right now. Apparently no upgrades for the scouts.
Yeah, a little bit of a pause, but it's continued on. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Mentalist here keeps pressuring this right side near the gold. And, he's got the hill advantage there as well, and that's pretty huge for him. MbL just throwing up more and more and more towers.
And denying the tower would be great. Would be huge for Mentalist denying the tower. Will he try to do that? He tries to bring in a couple of the scouts. Looks to me like MbL would eventually be able to kill that and take care of the tower. Yeah. Wow, I'm not so sure, man. I'm not so sure anymore. He's losing many villagers right there. The scouts are not going to try to do the job, but the tower is up. He's going to be safe for the time being.
Yeah, this is the thing though, right? MbL here taking so much stone to put up all these defensive towers, and that's stone that Mentalist is not having to take. That's stone that, instead of being stone for Mentalist, is food, it's wood, it's gold, and that's allowing Mentalist to creep ahead here right the way up to clicking up to the Castle Age, which he is about to do in just a moment's time, and he's going to have a big advantage over MbL going up to the Castle Age here.
Castle Age is clicked by Mentalist. You can see that MbL still has got a lot to fight in order to have the economy that he needs to go up to Castle Age. Keep in mind, players need 800 food and 200 gold, and that's something that MbL is very far away from getting, especially the food. He knows that he was able to clear the army for Mentalist, so now is the time to try and raid. From Mentalist's point of view, I wanted to say that I was hoping and expecting that he would go for knights, especially considering how open MbL's map is at this moment, but looks like he's going to stick with archers and crossbows.
Well, I think this is pretty interesting right now because MbL is pushing out. Sure, he's not going up to the castle age yet. They're actually very close on villagers. MbL with 47, Mentalist on 48. And so far this game, MbL has killed 37 units, losing just 27. So you could argue that he has actually traded better so far. And with this counterattack, maybe he'll find a way into Mentalist space and actually do some eco damage. But he's trying to hold on to this hill. He's going to try and take every advantage he can. But he's feeling a little outnumbered, so he's going to back up right here and perhaps wait for that Castle Age upgrade to come in for him as well.
Yeah, he's outnumbered and he doesn't have the +1 defense, which Mentalist has got at this point, and considering that he wasn't able to do much damage with that army, no damage at all, in fact, he's gonna have a hard time defending him. What I do like for him is that he's got towers, and in my opinion, towers are quite a nice defense, even against crossbows, and that's why I was hoping for Mentalist to go for knights, which he's not doing. He's only got one stable, and I would expect to see the crossbowman upgrade coming up for him. Not just yet, the +2 is there on the way. And I guess crossbowman is gonna be there anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make sense to do Bodkin Arrow before Crossbowman because it's a more expensive upgrade and you get less value from it, but he's doing Crossbow anyway, and it's not really going to make a difference here, but generally speaking, Crossbow before Bodkin Arrow is the rule, but it's okay. He's going to have that coming in just in time for his attack, but this is the thing with the Watchtowers, like you said. They might be quite an expensive investment to make a lot of them, but they certainly hold their weight even into the Castle Age here, especially against these Crossbow. A few villages garrisoned in the tower, it's going to do a lot of damage, and Mentalist is not going to want to sit too close, but he's coming in now. Will he find a few villagers? I think he might.
He might try to find a couple of villagers. He was able to snipe one of the archers, wasn't able to kill a single villager, so that's a nice job here by MbL. Taking a look at the military numbers, still heavily in favor of Mentalist. He's got, you guys can always take a look at my dashboard here. At the bottom side of the screen, you can see the military numbers here, this column right here in the middle of the map, in the middle of the screen, and that's 31 military units for Mentalist, only 17 from MbL. MbL still had a lot to fight in order to get back to this game.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like MbL just doesn't have really much footing on the map at the moment. I feel like he's really just feeling really confined to his base. He might be feeling a little bit cautious about pushing out too far, knowing that Mentalist is hanging around the back of his base, but those towers definitely give him some peace of mind, and now he's switching straight into Cavalry Archer here, and he is actually throwing out a counterattack on the front with these crossbows as well.
Let's see if he's going to be able to do something with that. There's a TC from MbL right there. Let me see how fast is going to be MbL's reaction. For sure, one village is going to go down. That's the second one. One lonely cavalry archer might just go down as well. No, it was a very nice and fast reaction here by MbL, by Mentalist that is. And let's see, where is MbL going to try to go next? He could try to get a couple of these farmers right here. They're absolutely in his range, and there's a very nice wood line right there at the back of Mentalist's space as well. But I'm not sure if he's going to be able to find it.
Yeah, Mentalist right now 10 villagers ahead as he gets that second town center and third town center up as well. MbL right now bringing up his second TC and third TC as well, but he's considerably delayed. And also here, you have to remember Mentalist getting bloodlines for that extra 20 HP on his cavalry archers. It's going to be pretty huge, and yeah, MbL already has that bloodlines research done as well, but I feel like with the military advantage that Mentalist has, he's got 44 versus MbL's 26. I mean, that's just going to be massive when he actually fights a good fight here, which could be coming up any second, as MbL might get a little trapped.
Yeah, let me see how this goes. He's gonna be absolutely trapped, and these cavalry archers are fully upgraded. I don't think there's much that MbL can do here. He can try to micro all he wants, sir. There's not horrible. A chance for you. It's gonna be a terrible loss for him, and he did lose a couple of villagers here at the wood line because Mentalist was very sneaky with a couple of crossbows, was able to snipe 2-3 villagers as well. That makes a very nice villager lead right now here for Mentalist. That's 13 villagers at only minute 35. Definitely a very nice advantage for Mentalist at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure. He is so far ahead right now. These cavalry archers, like you say, fully upgraded with a huge military advantage, and MbL is really playing from behind. Mentalist just shows us time and time again that he only really goes for the fight when he has the advantage. He doesn't try and micro his way out of a tough situation. He makes sure that all the cards are in his hand before going in for the engagement, and it's really working well for him so far. He's just looking so good right now. He's got a really big group of crossbows. He's got a really big group of cavalry cavalry archers, and he's wasting no time with a counter-attack. So let's see if he can get a good fight here on the right side. MbL trying to hold the top of the hill so he doesn't have to fight uphill, but as I say that, he retreats to the bottom of the hill. Maybe a very bad time for him.
Yeah, I guess it's just really hard for him. Once more, we can try to take a look at the military units. It's 50 military units for Mentalist against 20. Against this fight could be good for him. Once more, Mentalist was not patrolling, so he's going to lose a couple of units unnecessarily. There are too many towers right there, and do keep in mind that the crossbows weren't there. So that was actually a nice fight here for MbL. He could try to engage once more, and as long as the crossbowmen are not there, he could actually take very good fights with those cavalry archers.
Yeah, possibly, but I think, yeah, like you said earlier on, MbL just having to play very defensively. Every time he's made a counter push, he's been really taken out very, very quickly. I think at this stage, MbL has played a lot of Black Forest in his time, maybe trying to get ahead slightly, in economy back here. But for now, he's got to get that massive cavalry archers. He can't fall or stay too far behind in military, and this could be a good fight. Cavalry archers versus crossbows. It's generally going to work very nicely for the cavalry archers, but he's going to want to go back, I think, as Mentalist brings his own cavalry archers into that fight.
Definitely needs to go back. Those cavalry archers from Mentalist and those crossbows has got ballistics. And once more, for those of you who don't know what ballistics is one of the, arguably, the most important upgrade for the ranged units. And what it does is that it gives roughly almost 100% accuracy when units are shooting at moving targets, and that's obviously an incredibly important upgrade because that pretty much removes the micro aspect of the fights, right? And I can see that Mentalist has got it. I'm not sure if MbL has got it. Maybe you can check it really fast, Zach.
I will check, yeah. MbL can micro as much as he likes, but against ballistics, it's not really going to help him out all that much. I don't think he has ballistics at this point. Oh, I'm looking at Mentalist. My bad. Let me check.
That Mentalist has got them for sure, and once more this fight, there's no way this fight could go in favor of MbL. MbL needs to go back. I can see him adding more and more archery ranges. He's fighting hard to try to get those numbers of army numbers back up. He's still very, very far behind. It's a 52 against 29. That's not really much that he can do against C2 siege workshops. Apparently, he's going to try to be rushing here. He's going to be trying to rush that TC from Mentalist. I guess Mentalist is pretty much expecting this with a siege workshop of his own.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, yeah, at this stage, both of them do have ballistics done. But noting Mentalist here has got the, what's it called? The thumb ring upgrade as well.
Thumb ring.
And that's pretty huge because obviously right now MbL is starting to add some siege. If he were to start adding any mangonels, obviously that thumb ring upgrade is huge. The faster firing rate really helps you to take down those mangonels, but he's actually going in for some rams now, and obviously rams able to soak up the arrow fire of those cavalry archers. But just looking at the sheer mass of cavalry archers that Mentalist has at this stage, it's looking quite scary. And once again, he's going to have the hill advantage going into this fight.
Oh, that's a way too good. That's a way too good position for him. He's going to try to trap MbL in the middle of his own buildings, and do keep in mind MbL does not have any mangonel. It's only a ram, and then I guess this could be a nice option here for Mentalist to try to move in with his own mangonels. He's got one of them right there. That was quite a big loss for MbL there. I didn't see many units going down for Mentalist, so once more he's just pulling ahead little by little. But for sure, he's fighting a little bit of a bad fight here now. He needs to move back as far as possible. And considering he's got a couple of mangonels there, let's see how will this fight play out. Could be a very important one.
Yeah, this could be huge, and like I say, Mentalist just has so many numbers right now, but with those rams in there, maybe MbL can tank enough of that arrow fire that he can push it back, and in fact, since he has the hill, it seems like that may be the case. That mangonel there doing quite a bit of damage, but not taking down too many cavalry archers, since the cavalry archers obviously have more HP than the mangonel does damage. But MbL now releasing some more siege, and I love this part of the game when the siege gets involved, and it's not just about massing the cavalry archers, but it's about microing that siege as well.
A lot of micro is going to be required, and fair play to MbL so far, holding its ground. Mentalist is up to Imperial Age. MbL was still not quite able to do that. He's still very far away. I am not sure about this fight here, Zero. I actually see more blue dots than I do see red ones. I don't know.
MbL
I don't know.
actually closing the gap slightly in military here. He's got to be very careful of the mangonels still, because, a couple of good mangonel shots can do so much damage, and, just numbers, it doesn't tell the whole story. You could have 30 military, your opponent could have 30 military, but it all comes down to upgrades. It comes down to how much health those units have overall. And right now, Mentalist will once again take the advantage by about 20 military after that fight. And that kind of surprises me, to be honest with you. It looked like MbL was really strong going into that, and he's still keeping that pressure up by targeting this TC, and even now adding in some knights, maybe to try and focus down those mangonels a little bit.
Oh, it's 4 mangonels against 2, and so far Mentalist got 1, he lost 2, so it's 2 for 2, no one wins, no one loses. And biggest thing here going against MbL, of course, he's trying to put some pressure here. He's actually doing a nice job at that. He's being raided at the same time at the wood line, and he's down 40 villagers, almost 40 villagers. And even if he does manage to get down that TC, he will need to do a lot more damage than just that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and right now, Mentalist raiding a little bit at the back as well, and look at MbL's gold pile on the front
it just doesn't work.
mess.
It just doesn't work. Yeah, just as you said, look at that gold pile. There's just no chance for him. All in all, I guess was very well played by Mentalist and was very well played by MbL, but his worst map seemed to take the advantage over him, in my opinion, Zero.
Yeah, I agree. Really, this is a pretty messy game for MbL. He didn't really have a great map to begin with, let's be honest. Tried to get that Drush and didn't really do a whole lot of damage with that. And from there on out, Mentalist felt like he had the better map control. He was able to take the better fights, and he was really fighting the game on his terms, and that ended up being one of the main reasons why he got the win. Every time MbL tried some kind of counter-attack, he never really found the eco damage, and Mentalist was able to keep that pressure on. He kept finding villages all over the place, and overall that defensive style play for MbL just didn't really work out for him.